I'm Derek with TNC Contracting. I'm the head mechanic here, and we've been using these attachments for 5 years now. KEMROC attachments were started out in Germany. It's an attachment used on an excavator to remove the rock without any drilling or blasting. We can go in and put a trench in anywhere, any concrete, just about any thickness of rebar. Basically, we can put a hole anywhere or a trench anywhere. So the great thing about these, they're a real low maintenance item. There's not a whole lot of hydraulic fluid that runs anywhere else in the attachment other than through the hydraulic motor and puts it right back into the machine. Whereas your hydraulic hammers, they have nitrogen in them, they're high pressure, they're always in a hammer, it's always sitting there just beating and beating and beating. This doesn't do all that. It's just using a rotary drum to kind of more or less grind the material out of the way. So we're not really seeing the wear that we would out of a hydraulic hammer on these units because there's not as many moving parts inside, there's not as many machined parts inside, it's all just gears and drums. So they have a real high sustainability. When I first saw it, I thought A, it looked cool, B, it's probably not gonna work out like we thought it was, but I was wrong. Like I said, we've seen a significant decrease in maintenance on anything to do with removing rock. And in fact, we are no longer using hydraulic hammers. We don't use our rock crushers anymore because these grind the material up and we can use it right back in the ditch as fill. So we're not having to buy or purchase as much rock. So maintenance wise, we don't have to use any nitrogen. There's no more really the need for a flow meter all the time. We don't have to set flows for different things across the board. We can go in there, set it one time, and it stays in the machine. And then the next attachment that comes on back, usually it's going to be around the same size. That flow will carry right over into it. I would recommend them highly. Like I said, we haven't seen any rock yet that we can't chew through. We haven't seen any rock that we can't remove out of the ground. I think it would benefit everybody's fleet to have one in it. Obviously, hoe ramming, if you need to go 30 foot in the ground, you got to have a 30-foot base at the top of it to get down in. These, we can go 30 foot in the ground with a 42-inch wide trench. So I think it's definitely got a place in everybody's fleet. The biggest benefit, speed. Yeah, speed. We have a lot of downtime. You don't have any downtime as much downtime with this. Anything mechanical will have some downtime eventually. But hammers, they were real finicky. You have operators call you, say, hey, this hammer, it's not hitting like it's supposed to. And at that point, you got to send a technician out with a bottle of nitrogen and everything else. It downs them for 3 or 4 hours by the time he gets there. This, as long as the hydraulic flow is going through it and the drum's turning the right speed, it's set. You set it and forget it. Maintenance on site wise, you could do just about anything you want to one of these on site. I've rebuilt the hydraulic motors in them on site. I've done basically as deep as you can go into one of these things on site. We had at a demo, we actually had a chain that was getting ready to fail, and we took a new chain out there, put the new chain on a trench cutter, and had it back up and running within an hour. So they're pretty easy to work on. Everything is pretty standard across the board. The smaller ones, they just get smaller in size. The bigger the size, the bigger the gear. So everything's pretty well, it's just one machine, just multiple different sizes. Everything is kind of flows from one to the next. So the same principles can be used on this one as used on this one. All right, downside. Biggest downside I've seen to them is the chain cutters. The chain, obviously, it wears a little faster than the rest of the unit, but that's a necessary evil. You got to have something there to remove that rock. That is the biggest downside to the chain cutter itself. Outside of that, that downside's a lot less expensive than a regular traditional hoe ram or hammer. Usually, anytime you have a hammer go down, we see the cost anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000 on the low side. Whereas one of these attachments, sometimes it might be $2,000 or $3,000 back up and running. But they just very rarely In fact, I have not seen one rebuilt completely 100% yet. So we're having really good luck out of the rebuild standards. You know, there's not much to them. The hoe ram industry has got to be sweating this. Yeah, hammers are exactly what they are. They're a hammer. They're destructive by nature. That's what they were designed to do, is to beat one piece of material out of the way and move it out of the way. So they work great for years, but as technology's evolved, you know, people have kind of stepped back and looked at different ways to remove rock, and this is about the best thing that they've come up with so far, and it's working great. So we really like them here. In fact, we now no longer have to work on rock crushers. No rock crushers, no hoe rams, no anything. In fact, we scrapped every hoe ram we own. So the drums are interchangeable. You can change it out to get a specific width of your trench, and you can change them from one size unit to the next same size unit, but you can go from unit to unit to unit. And the EKs and the EKTs, the drums will switch from one to the other with the simple installation of a sprocket. In fact, you can take a EK and turn it into an EKT, or you can take an EKT and turn it into an EK. It's all the same parts on the inside of it. It's just they put a chain around the outside and put a sprocket in there to drive it. We use them on concrete pads. We use them with rebar in them. We use them on slate. We use them in limestone, sandstone, anything that needs to be moved, with the exception of steel. And I think we have an attachment that'll cut a piece of steel in half now. I'd just go ahead and buy it. You'll be money ahead. Over the next 2 years, you'll really start to see a huge increase in profitability. And then eventually your hoe rams will be in the same shape ours was, grow it up in the weeds, and you'll be looking to throw them in the scrap dumpster. They're really well engineered. They're very well engineered. In fact, I've been to Germany and talked to the guys that designed them and engineered them, and they take quality control very seriously over there. So everything that's come through here, everything that comes over here has been quality controlled, not once, twice. So everything, when it gets here, it's ready to go, ready to work.